Essentially, with this system, the way that we've worked it out, it's going to prevent a lot of cheesing, coupled with queue dodging being eliminated. If you are queued into a battleground and you decline to accept that battleground queue, you get a deserter debuff. So there's no queue dodging. You have to queue, and if you queue, you're in that battleground, or you're stuck outside for 15 minutes. So this essentially ensures that pre-mades are fighting against each other in high-octane PvP for dominance. No, it's whoever is running a pre-made that's better and is winning more often is going to get the rank and is going to get the reward. And this, obviously, the system, the only way to really abuse it is to pre-stack pre-mades and queue at the same time. So that's why we're doing a pooling system. Anybody who queues into a battleground that isn't in a pre-made is going to have a 1 minute queue time automatically to pool them. So it pools enough players together and randomizes them.
So what you're saying is there's gonna be no instant queues. It's always gonna be 60 seconds.
No, if you're a pre-made, you'll get instant queues as long as there's another pre-made of the same size.
Okay, so only for pugs is it a 60-second automatic, wait time.
Yeah, and this is essentially a way to ensure that we're not placing the same people consistently against the same people. Just pool the pugs, so you're not getting stuck with the same shitters on your team game after game. You're not a full pre-made. And this ensures that honor decay, which does exist in battlegrounds. After 10 honorable kills in a battleground, you stop gaining honor from that player.
So it is 10 kills in this server, right?
Yeah, it's 10 kills in battlegrounds, 4 in world PvP to stop gaining honor.
Okay, so I did list that as a question. So are those going to be separate pools?
Yeah, for honor decay, yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm already decayed on somebody in the world, I killed them 4 times, but then I killed them the first time in a battleground, that's still 100 for that first kill.
Yeah, battlegrounds and world are separate.
Okay.
Also, the PvP, the group pre-made bonus, that applies to the end battleground bonus honor too, right? Not the kills, right?
That's, yeah, strictly the end battleground bonus honor. And it's essentially a way to incentivize people who are queuing in 10-mans to win as quickly as possible, because then they mathematically gain the most honor per hour. If you're in a 10-man pre-made and you're getting fastest possible times on, let's say, Arathi Basin is a really good example because it's a battleground with a timer. If you're going into Arathi Basin and you're winning by 5 capping instantly every game as a 15-man pre-made, you will have the most honor gain possible in the server. Nobody's going to be able to keep up because you've essentially dominated the battleground. You've destroyed the other team. And you're not just rolling 15 pugs who are just sitting AFK in the spawn point. You're actually fighting an equal pre-made. So it incentivizes better PvP, better quality PvP, and anybody who's winning consistently has a better lineup, they have better gear, they're playing better, they're going to win. They're going to get more bonus honor.
So when AV comes out, are you guys doing anything with AV now? I was originally worried because you know how AV is, man. It gives you so much fucking honor that it's usually like the meta. But with this pre-made queuing system, it doesn't really seem like it. But I was just curious about what you guys are doing with AV. Because I know those lieutenants give like just crazy honor, and you know what I mean.
Too far away.
I just wondered if you guys were changing anything about AV at all.
That's something that I'm considering right now, and I think the most organic way to handle it is the in-game battleground weekends. Instead of nerfing AV, what I'll do is just make it so that the battleground that is up for the weekend is the best honor possible. So it doesn't destroy AV, but it destroys the AV meta to where you're just grinding AV nonstop. And this will be, what, essentially 3 days of the week, 2 days of the week.
Yeah, because AV essentially, man, I mean, that just, it just does so much to the server. First of all, it raises stats astronomically. Second of all, it's just, a lot of people enjoy it. It's hell on the brackets.
It's not fun. So I'd like to basically make it so that whatever battleground is up for the weekend is the best honor. Whether or not that means reducing the honor for the other battlegrounds that weekend to incentivize people playing Warsong and Arathi. But yeah, I'd like to do something about AV honor. There's a lot to look into it. A lot of NPCs give a lot of honor, which, like you said, that can be addressed a lot easier. But the problem is you're facing 40 versus 40. You're probably going to get a lot of kills, get a lot of honor that way. There's really no way to avoid that because it's just the highest pop battleground. So
Yeah, I don't really see any reason it would be meta, especially if there's no like bonus honor kind of incentive in AV, I guess. But I mean, you can queue as a 5-man in there, right? Does that apply? How does that work?
Yeah, if you, let's say you queue as a 5-man, you're gonna get, what's it, yeah, 15%?
Okay,
Something like that. Yeah, close to it.
that's right, because you're pulling it for the whole population. Okay.
Yeah, for the entire battleground. So you, obviously, the meta for AV will be having a 40-man stack, but again, the bonus honor is only applied to the multiplier at the end, or the multiplier is only applied to the bonus honor at the end of the battleground.
Oh wait, can you queue as a raid in AV or?
Yeah, you can queue as a 40-man.
Wow. Okay.
And
That's interesting.
like I said too, so you're not stuck trying to wait as a pre-made to queue. What's going to happen is, if you're, let's say, Warsong Gulch, for example, you're queuing as a 10-man pre-made, and the next highest pre-made is 5 players. Every minute that you're in the queue as a pre-made, the amount of players that you'll get matched against in the other pre-made reduces by 1 until you find a suitable group to face against. So, after 8 minutes, you can queue 10 versus 2 in terms of pre-mades, and obviously the other 8 slots get filled with pugs, but there might be a lower limit. I might do 5 as the lower limit, but after X amount of time, you will automatically get a queue lock as a pre-made, so you're not worried about not having people to queue into because of your group size and trying to split up into smaller groups.
I was wondering, like, where the threshold starts, because with this system, you like people that queue like 2 and 3-mans, like pre-made in a Drew or something. If they don't get matched up into another pre-made, then it's kind of queue as 3, I guess. But
So correct me if I'm wrong, Wall, but I believe with this system you're encouraging like even pugs. You want them to group up. You want them to make pre-made.
Yeah, it's obviously better for everybody to PvP together. And if you're solo queuing, and let's say, again, you're queuing into a 9 versus 9 pre-made, and there's a pug on each side, they'll also gain the 90% bonus honor that the pre-made is essentially generating for the battleground. So queuing as a pug isn't that detrimental, but it's not the most efficient way to rank. Same thing with smaller group queues. You essentially, for the most honor per hour, you want to queue as the maximum size for the battleground. And that's how it should be. If you're trying to rank, you should be with an entire team, and you shouldn't be just trying to cheese a pug queue. So, basically, you don't want to make the meta for farming the gear, rank 14, or rank. You don't want to make the meta revolve around facing bad enemies. And that's been a huge problem in the past. You dodge all the pre-mades until you find a pug group, and then you stomp them out 5 minutes and repeat for 3 months. And that's terrible fucking gameplay. That's entirely a back-end system. That's entirely because of the queuing system and how the queuing system works, which I'm not going to say it's not Blizz-like, but it really isn't. No, it's not like we have the exact code for how Blizzard handles queuing. We know how it relatively works, though. So with a new system, we can work out a lot of the kinks without affecting the battlegrounds, without changing honor decay, without really touching anything else in the game itself, just all the back-end queuing system.
yeah, does anybody have any questions about this? I mean, I personally.
I have loads of questions actually.
About the weekends, about the bonus weekends, are you going to rotate all 3, or are you going to have one weekend of no bonus honor to encourage more world PvP?
I'd like to do, since there's 4 weekends in a month, essentially, I'd like to do 1 weekend with no bonus honor.
Yeah.
If I don't do that, I'd even consider not having an AV bonus honor weekend.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, then you have Arathi Basin and Warsong Gulch played on the weekends for every week, and you can grind AV, 4 or 5 days of the week, but you got 2 days off, essentially.
Yeah, Nash, what were you saying?
Yeah, I assume you're able to change like the amount of scaling of the bonus honor for pre-made bonus later, yes?
Yeah, I can change it at any time.
Of course. So what about like, so if it's the same like amount, like if you gain like 100% bonus or whatever, 50% bonus or whatever for having a full group, so it's like, because I could see that kind of being a problem in Warsong. Like if you have 2 good pre-mates playing and they end up having long matches, like there's not really a time limit on the game like there is in Arathi. So like, is there a certain point where like I'm thinking like, could it be detrimental to queue at a big group depending on who else is queuing? Like,
Well, that's kind of the point, and I do see the drawback there, but unfortunately, that's one of the aspects of Warsong Gulch is that it doesn't have a timer. So if you're
Yeah,
queuing
of course.
Warsong Gulch, yeah, if you're queuing Warsong Gulch to farm RP and honor and trying to rank, you need to be aware of that risk. Is you might queue into a group that you get stalemated against. They're good and you're good, so you can't really win.
Sure, of course, yeah. I'm a Warsong druid, so like, you know, that's I get stuck in multi-hour games all the time. But I mean, like, it's if the goal was to sort of incentivize people to group up and to incentivize, like, you know, better PvP, not just better grinding and people, like, you know, not going to sleep to rank and shit like that. If you're trying to incentivize better PvP, is there a point where maybe that's like counterproductive? Like, I just mean, like, yeah, is there a plan of like that if it ends up becoming like a problem? Like, people start change, like groups, like group dodging.
If it was a problem, then I would adjust it. But the way that the system's set up right now is, let's say you're a B tier pre-made druid and playing 10-man Warsong Gulches, you're breaking even on wins and losses. You're hitting 50-50 because you're facing worse pre-mades and you're facing better pre-mades, but some of the games are taking longer. So you find that, well, shit, if I queue as a 3-man, a mage, a priest, and a druid, we can win the battlegrounds faster because the pugs aren't as efficient as us. There's two.
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to know you had that you usually like had a plan for it was all in the future. That's all I really wanted to know. I understand like the pros and cons of going up and down, like upsizing and downsizing. Yeah.
Well, there's a flaw in that line of thinking, though, is that if something is meta, people will do it themselves, and this applies to both sides. So you can't just expect that, oh, well, if I'm queuing as a 3-man, I'm rolling the enemy team in 5 minutes and I'm getting the most honor. If that were the case, if you were getting the most honor through doing that, the enemy would be doing the same. And that means that suddenly your 3 versus 3 pre-mades are stalemating into 40 minutes because the pugs can't kill the fucking druid tank or the priest, and you're not able to capture either flag. So it's a self-correcting issue in that regard, and if there was any major downfalls or downsides to the system, I'd be happy to change it at any point. I could change it within 5 minutes after launching it. That's not a problem.
Okay, yeah, that's really all I wanted to know. Is that you're, you know, able and willing to change it if it needs to be changed later?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
you know, I'm not Blizzard, so.
What you got, Trump?
Yes, thank you all for coming here. I have a question concerning the losing pre-mades in the battlegrounds, frankly. Do they also get the bonus honor? Thank you.
He's talking about the bonus honor if you lose.
Yeah.
Does that... Go ahead. You there?
Oh, sorry, I cut out. Yeah, I haven't decided on that one yet, but I don't think it's detrimental if the bonus honor is applied to both winners and losers.
I think it should be both. I really think it should be both.
I do too.
I believe that it should be both as well, because the losers don't get as much honor anyways. And even if they are, they're not getting as much honor from the battleground itself or the bonus honor. So
yeah,
that's not a problem.
My whole thing was like, if there's just pre-mades that aren't very good, if they keep getting broken and don't get that extra bonus honor, I feel like they'll just break off and start queuing as 2-mans or solo or whatever. So I kind of like agree with giving them the bonus, I guess, because if you lose, you still get less honor than the winner. So
yeah, and that, again, that's something to consider too. Is the way that the queuing system works is it's self-correcting in nature. If there's one pre-made that is just dominating one side of the faction, and the other enemy team starts deciding to break off pre-mades, well, they're eventually going to get queued into them anyways, and they're just going to get even more honor as a 10-man, whereas you're not going to get the bonus honor as let's say 6-man pre-made. If that's how the queue timers are working, to drop down from a 10-man to 10 versus 6 essentially after 4 minutes of queuing, because there's not enough people in the pool that are queuing as a higher amount in a pre-made, the 10-man is still going to get the 100% multiplied bonus. The 6-man's only going to get 60%. So at that point, it just becomes far less efficient. You're just getting the shit kicked out of you now faster, and you're not getting as much honor. So even still, incentivized to queue as a higher number of people, even if you're losing.
Yeah, I totally agree with this. Also, Warlock said something pretty clever here. You can get 0-tick ABs if you get 5 capped. He's wondering if there's like a flat loss bonus on her, or if it's just 0 and that's it if you get 5 capped instantly.
Right, because it's percent, right? So if you you can literally 0-tick, 0-kill in Arathi Basin and get 0 honor. So if you're pre-made and that happens, it'd have to be flat, right? Like a flat bonus.
No, there is no flat bonus. So obviously, you want to kill people.
Yeah, but
That's
okay,
true.
obviously you want to, but what if you don't? What if you just get completely stomped, 0-tick,
Yeah,
5 capped?
that'll happen.
And it doesn't
Then-
matter if
then
you have
don't get
100%
the bonus
bonus.
honor.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's you
Sure.
just got to get good, and that should be the final answer to all the conundrums. Is I want to align everything so that the answer is get good. Basically, the system
Yeah.
should be designed to award better players who are playing better and trying harder. And this doesn't mean just obviously pushing more hours into the game. It means performing better. And that's obviously been a huge part of the flaws of the ranking system in the past. Is you can get ranked 14 by AFKing without killing a single person, and that should never be the case.
Okay, I agree with you, like philosophically and all that, but it's just I don't know personally, just that's not historically I think what I've seen people do. I think a lot of people don't think the same and just give up easily when they get like no incentive to re-queue after stomping. So like I don't know, maybe some people have a different reaction. I do agree they should just get good. Like
I think
That
that'd be the only
again, that
applied to AB, honestly, because since it's a flat 0, if you absolutely get stomped, I think it's just going to incentivize people to queue as big groups. But who knows?
well, that changes the meta though. Don't forget that changes the meta a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're placing AV or Arathi Basin, you're 15 man versus 15 man, and you're getting shit stomped out of you to where you can't even get a cap. They're just 5 capping instantly. That means that the meta becomes, well, instead of all rushing around trying to capture all these points, we just all sit at our first starting point that we can cap. We just kill as many people as we can while they 4 cap us.
Yeah, the 4-1.
And then suddenly we have 20 kills when the battleground ends, and that multiplies by the bonus honor. And that's a
Okay,
fast
so
battleground
the
where you're gaining.
the kills will multiply with this bonus as well.
For Arathi Basin, yeah, I can make the kills multiply for bonus honor. So
Yeah.
there's different ways. There's different ways to shake it up. Essentially, if you're facing dire situations, just play differently. If
Yeah.
the goal should always be winning the battleground, and this is something that I've thought about too, is marks of honor exchanging for higher honor rates. So if you're winning consistently and you're getting more marks of honor, you're able to trade them in for even higher amounts of honor, and that would correct a lot of issues of people trying to sandbag.
Gotcha.
Yes, something like of a similar nature to that. It could, I think, fix or dispel almost all my concerns I like brought up earlier about like just having a high frequency of getting stuck into long Warsong games. Like if there's any way for like players to, I guess, not be punished for like just you only get your 4 or 10 honor kills and then they're DR'd and you're stuck in a 1 hour Warsong, so you're like your honor power is shit if you're like 2 evenly matched pre-mids, right? So if there's like any change at all to like the scaling down like per kill, maybe I don't know, just something to, I guess, punish players a little less for being in a long game, I think that could help a lot, like, and just incentivize good PvP.
I believe he separated the world kills into the battleground kills too. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
The big problem with that is if there's no decay, then people will cheese the system
Yeah,
by
they'll
just
abuse
throwing
it. Yeah, obviously you have to
becomes abuse.
find some kind of way to do it unabusably, but I mean like in a very basic sense, like.
There's a lot to consider on tweaks that we can do to that, but for now, I think just having decay as it is and seeing how the queues are going for the first month or two,
Yeah.
is probably going to be the biggest litmus. Simply because we need to know really how much honor people are gaining, and that's something that I'd like to do on the open PTR and, well, mostly the stress test, I would even say. During the 3rd month of PTR, during the stress test, we're going to try and encourage Battlegrounds so that we can kind of get a gauge of how the honor system is working for players with the new queuing system. This is something that's still yet to be developed. This is just talks right now, so I need a lot of feedback just to try and figure out the nuances. And this is going to take a lot of work to get this all ironed out. So getting a little bit of
I look forward to
playtesting
that.
before the server's live is probably the best idea. And if we can get 4 or 5 pre-mades queuing into each other and kind of gauge how the honor gain is for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the stress test, then we'd have a little bit better of an idea.
Let us know. We're all like Warsong gamers, so like let us know. We'll do all the testing you want. I'm sure.
I mean, the fact that you're willing to adjust it as it goes on is like enough for me, really.
Yeah, like these are. This is so important to us, like as PvPers. These small things.
A big consideration too that I thought of is, what if I put weekly caps on the amount of honor that could be gained? And the way that this would work is, let's say 65,000 honor, whatever you need for really the max RP. I could cap it at that per week. So instead of having to farm 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, you would only have to farm, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Lot less of an intense grind. But the caveat is that marks of honor have no limit, and I'll make them stackable to 10,000, whatever. So you can farm marks of honor to hold for the next week. If you have 1,000 marks of honor prepared for the next week, then you can turn those in and hit the honor cap through the marks of honor, and you don't even have to participate that week for PvP. So this gives players a little bit of a breathing room to where, let's say they have to go on vacation or something for this week, and they are thinking, well, I'm going to lose all my honor and all my gains. Just turn in your marks. And once you turn in your marks, you hit the honor cap for that week.
My thing about that is how you're talking about a cap is if somebody plays efficiently and they're playing 12 hours a day and they're bracket 1, you're talking about what, capping the honor? Or, I guess I don't really understand what you mean by capping it, because because if you set a set number, what's to stop somebody that's going to play 20 hours a day and just you see what I'm saying?
What if you have
People
too
just
many
do-
people
do
reach the
coke
cap?
for a week? Like,
Hold on. Let's rewind right there. If somebody's playing 20 hours a day, they won't have any advantage significantly over anyone else because their honor's capped. The only advantage that they're gaining is the marks of honor that they're accumulating for the following weeks. So if somebody's going to play 20 hours a day for 2 weeks, they might have enough marks of honor stored up to skirt through an entire week just by turning those in for honor and hitting the cap. So it brings the queuing amount necessary to continue ranking to a lower point while still allowing you to accumulate resources that push into the next following weeks.
So what happens when
Yeah, well, what happens if there's like 50 people who hit the cap? Like, is there gonna be 50 bracket 1 spots?
And that's something that I'm considering, is allowing marks of honor turn-ins to push past the cap. So essentially, if you want to continue ranking and you want to stay position 1, you're going to have to keep playing Battlegrounds for those marks of honors to push you past the cap subsequently after.
The only issue I see with that is if there's quite a lot of people that can all they're able to get bracket 1. So let's say you have, like, if you cap everybody, let's say you have 100 people that are able to hit the bracket 1 hard cap. At that point, marks would not be enough, I think, to stretch out the bracket. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but
No, and I kind of get what you're saying. I think that if they hit bracket without turning in any marks of honor, then it just boils down to whoever has more marks of honor, which means whoever's continuing to queue and play into that. So that keeps Battlegrounds going, and that will allow them to push past other people within that bracket. The only real concern about that is that if somebody stores up all of their marks of honor and then just turns them all in within 1 week and breaks the bracket essentially for that week. So that's, again, this is a system that I have no plans on implementing, but this is something that I've considered and see maybe if there's some kinks that could be worked out to make it to where people don't have to chain queue for 16 hours a day to achieve good rank, but they still are incentivized to.
yeah, I'm all for not playing 16 hours a day and it coming down to the better teams. I think the I think the hard caps and stuff. I think that would take some testing for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that could work because
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one.
My initial observation on that is that it wouldn't. The only way that would work is the cap would have to be high.
and they're like
Yeah, like really.
the same thing would happen. You just play 16 hours a day for marks instead of 16 hours a day for honor.
Exactly.
to
Like
get the
you're
bracket
just
one
putting
spot.
diminishing returns on the amount of honor you get for the time you put in.
You're just trading one grind for another. You're still gonna have to play super hard to get that bracket 1 spot.
Yeah, the problem is the vanilla ranking system's so fucking shit.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
is. It really is.
It is.
Yes, frankly.
I mean, I like the idea of the hard caps, but in theory, I think that can be abused to hell. But
Yeah, that only works
Yeah,
if you
well-
if it's like a rating system or like a win-loss ratio kind of thing.
We're gonna table that idea. That's just something that popped in my head the other day to see if it was feasible.
yeah,
There's a million kinks to work out, but if we could reach a sweet spot to where you don't need to play 16 hours a day, but you're still incentivized to keep queuing battlegrounds, that's kind of like the goal that we're trying to reach on that, so that people don't feel that they're punished, especially if they can't commit for 1 or 2 days and they miss out. That's
yeah,
a big
man,
deal.
everybody playing this game is like boomed out and shit. Like everybody works and everything, so I get it.
To be fair though, Wall, and I'm like paraphrasing or basically quoting you, and you've said this on, and not directly to PvP. It could be for farming, for leveling purposes, but you've said that's the nature of vanilla. If something as a dad gamer, they can only play 3 hours a week, then that's just the way it is. They can't keep up with people who can play 20 or 40.
Yeah, and that's a common cliche that I've stated for years now, because all the private servers I've ever played on, I've been able to commit 20 hours a day. And then people who aren't ahead of the curve or pushing the top 10 server first to 60, it sucks for them, because the only real downside that they have compared to playing to me, and I don't play efficiently, I just play a lot. So if they can't commit those hours, they cannot possibly keep up. And that's just the sad nature of vanilla, which is why I'd really like to see level caps. We're going to do that for the PTR, and obviously that's not something we're going to do on live, but that's the Wallcraft plan, at least, is to have weekly level caps on server fresh, so nobody feels like they're ever falling behind. And they can put in 2 or 3 days to hit the level cap, and then they can gear out in the best gear. They can level their professions, they can level an alt, they can world PvP, they can battleground, they can farm honor, they can do dungeons, especially some of the stuff in the game too. If it's level capped, it creates a new meta. Like for example, Zerakotal in the Badlands, he's like level 57 or 55 elite buzzard. He drops a level 30 quest item. Well, on Wallcraft, that level 30 quest item leads to a best in slot weapon for level 30s, and that's the lowest level you can obtain it. And you have to defeat a level 57 elite boss that's got an insane amount of health and armor and damage. You basically need an 80-man raid to take him down, but he can be farmed once an hour for best in slot weapon that week. So it becomes like a world boss objective for level 30s to essentially do.
Yeah, the only thing I think about the level caps here is because you have like essentially a month before like MC comes out, I think it was, or Battlegrounds or something like that. I don't think the level caps would work that way, because if somebody's planning to get ahead and farm before they start queuing, I think that would be kind of bad.
Well, it allows everybody to reach level 60 generally at the same time. That's like the whole purpose, really, is that everybody, it goes from 30, 40, 50, 60, and pretty much everybody is guaranteed to be within those tiers during those weeks. So everybody hits 60 relatively at the same time, and everybody can start doing Molten Core at the same time. And again, this is a big thing that I've noticed too on private servers previously, is I'd hit 60 before anyone else in my guild, or before 2 or 3 people would hit 60 first before me, but I'd be like the top 5 person in my guild to level 60. And then we're stuck waiting around a month for level 60s to actually reach that point. And I just watch people quitting the server. So it's like trying to fill a raid. Well, we have 20 level 60s this week, but 3 people quit and 2 more people dinged. Now we're even more behind schedule trying to get to Molten Core. With level caps, this is largely avoided, simply because everybody's hitting the same brackets at the same time, so everybody's kind of playing the same game with each other.
Gotcha. And you said that you weren't going to do that here.
No, it'll be done on the on the open PTR, but we're not going to do it on fresh. This is something that we want to test because it was very popular during the classic beta to have level caps, and people really enjoyed it. So we're going to recreate that experience on the PTR, and that is an idea that I'm reserving for Wallcraft Live, but Everlook Fresh will not have that.
Okay, gotcha. Anybody else had any questions about the PvP and shit?
Yeah, I had a couple. So, I feel like with the honor bonus, AB will just kind of auto become the meta over Warsong.
I think
Just because the bonus honor, you can just get it so much faster in AB, and it's
yeah. So
Yeah, but think about how
people are gonna
think about how quickly you're able to win in AV. AV could turtle into 4 hours, and then
no,
that bonus-
Arathi Basin, not. I'm talking
Arathi Basin.
Basin versus Warsong. I feel like
Yeah.
Basin might need to have its honor bonus tuned down a little to match. Like, what's your goal? Are you planning to make it equal honor per hour if you're 8-minute winning Warsong and 5 capping AB? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah, I want everything to be relatively balanced between all battlegrounds. If you're playing as maximum efficiency, the honor should be relatively the same. If you're winning Alterac Valley in 15 minutes and you're winning Arathi Basin in fucking 3 minutes because you're 5 capping, and you're winning Warsong Gulch in like 10 minutes, then those should all relatively be the same amount of honor per hour. You know, playing as efficiently as you can within each battleground should award the same honor, and it should scale relative to each other. So like a 40-minute Warsong Gulch match is going to render the same amount of honor as a 4-hour AV. That would be ideal. And obviously Arathi Basin is kind of the standard, the litmus to all of this, because Arathi Basin is the only one that's really on a timer, and eventually it ends compared to the other battlegrounds. So whatever Arathi Basin is scaled towards, I'd like to scale the other battlegrounds too.
Yeah, another thing, Ed, there's some people that joined in late, but the AB, I'm not too worried about that becoming, I think what you're saying, dominant, because with the bonus honor, I think that you'll get a lot of full teams, and I think that they'll just turtle 4-1 or 3-2. I don't think that 5 capping, I think this is going to be limited to like certain teams on the server to just spam 5 cap, but he did say he's willing to adjust it over time too.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's going to be at least one 15-man AB team that just 5 caps everything.
Yeah.
And those guys will be getting insane honor from those
That
wins.
means you get to take a day off, or
That means you can fucking probably cap in 2 or 3 days, honestly, if it's 100% bonus honor.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy to hear him say that he's willing to adjust.
Yeah, I'm just worried about AB being like a little too good compared to Warsong, even if you're a good Warsong team.
You're gonna do 10% per person, right? So if you're queuing as a 15-man, you're getting 150%.
He says he's scaling it mathematically, so it never passes 100%, even in AV.
Oh, okay. So it's gonna be 100% tops. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but attempting to scale Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin, you would perhaps need to scale the honor gains in these non-timed battlegrounds based on the time in the battleground, frankly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, essentially, it's honor per hour on that regard. So like, how much honor per hour can you possibly get in Arathi Basin playing with maximum efficiency if you're 5 capping instantly for an hour straight, getting, like do the math on that basically, and compare that to the most efficient plays for the other battlegrounds and scale them accordingly, and take a look at the average time of Arathi Basin as well, and scale the average times of the other battlegrounds accordingly for honor gains, so that all 3 battlegrounds are essentially worth the same amount of honor per hour, depending on your playstyle, your class, your meta. You might be better off playing Warsong or Arathi or Alterac Valley even. And AV isn't one that's going to be on the table as much for being meta, because it already is. So I want to scale everything around that amount of honor gain per hour, probably by nerfing AV a bit.
off subject, are you gonna poll Alliance and Horde, like on the forums or something, Discord? I'm curious what the balance would be like when we get closer to launch. You know what I mean?
I don't pull shit. I think polls are worthless.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather do like these Q&A sessions and get feedback from players directly because polls are so easily manipulated. And I've seen many servers try and poll people, and then it just destroys everything. Like,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
never-
I'm trying
Dude,
to...
you announce a poll and you literally get like 500 people that have no intention of playing, and they're just gonna go in there and shit it up.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to just keep track of the Alliance and Horde Guild postings to figure out what we're looking at, but obviously there's no way to tell 100%. But anybody else have any questions about PvP West?
Yeah, also about AV, when you're talking about the weekend, like you're saying you just wanted to boost the weekends for Basin and Warsong Gulch, but I feel like that would just make the meta. You play AV for 4 days and then you just do the weekend, which, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like that meta. Like, I wouldn't mind if you kept Alterac Valley weekend and then just nerfed its normal honor, so then like every third week you play some AV and it's meta for that week, and then you go back to the Warsong / Basin meta.
Yeah, he said.
I concur.
I fully agree with you, and that's kind of the way I intend to do it, is, like I said, scaling the honors for all 3 battlegrounds to be relatively similar. And then the weekend events for all 3 battlegrounds are essentially going to dictate what you want to play on that weekend.
I mean,
Which-
I like the idea of rolling in there as 40 man in a guild and AV on AV weekend. Like, I would not be bored of that for sure.
Yeah, rankers don't mind like every third week you fucking play AV for 3 or 4 days, but when it's like meta to only play AV until the weekend, that's when it kind of becomes.
Yeah,
People don't like that.
Yeah, nobody does. It's fucking AV's the worst battleground. And I fully agree with that. That's, like I said, I want to scale all 3 battlegrounds to give relatively the same amount of honor, and then the weekend simply determine what you play. And with that meta, it helps shake up things. Well, with that system, it helps shake up the meta, because if you're a really good Warsong Gulch team, but it's an AV weekend, well, you're going to get more honor by playing AV, but you might suck at it compared to Warsong, or vice versa for any battleground.
I mean, I like the idea of 40 man Q and AV on the weekend, like with everybody in voice, etc. Like, I think that would definitely break the boredom. Sirach asked, Strafer asked, are you gonna do any? Are you gonna wall off the fence on Alliance like it was on Elysia?
Yeah.
Are you making the invisible walls and everything?
Yeah, I'll add invisible walls to even out Alterac Valley. The battleground's kind of fucked.
She.
No, I mean in Warsong, like, are you gonna block off the fences or are you gonna leave it kind of how it's always been?
No, the jumps,
like
the
with
jumps in Warsong all work. The jumps in Arathi Basin all work. Alterac Valley as well. Almost everything works. The one thing that I'm gonna nerf is the out of bounds. Obviously, you're not allowed to go out of bounds. If somebody's out of bounds in Warsong with the flag, just report them. We'll kick them.
Yeah.
But Alterac Valley has a lot of issues with the layout that makes it not balanced, and obviously the bridge is one big thing, but the jumps that you can do to get to Drekthar really fuck up the Horde base. And so I'll add invisible walls to those just to make sure the battleground is fair and balanced between each team. But stuff like Warsong Gulch, roof jumps and shit like that, I'm not going to nerf.
Okay.
So you are gonna prevent backdooring for both factions?
Yeah, you're not going to be allowed to fucking sneak into the base like that. Because that's really just... It's unfortunate, and it gets fixed later, but it ruins the balance between the 2 battlegrounds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the backdoor even matters if you're queuing as a strong 40 man anyway.
No, I agree. I just again, just for clarification, I just want to know ahead of time if that is what you plan on doing.
Yeah, AV, the backdoor for Drekthar is going to be nerfed. Any type of backdoors that allow you to sneak past the defenses and not actually have to play the battleground is going to get nerfed.
Are you referring to the waterfall jump or the mountain jump?
For both sides, basically, you're not going to be able to
Okay.
backdoor.
Yeah, just I don't know how many people were aware of the mountain jump. I haven't really like seen many people do it before.
Yeah, we did it all the time on fucking Northdale.
Yeah, it's popular in Classic also.
Dude, 7-minute games. 7-minute game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm loving this shit. I don't know if any of you guys.
Yeah, I meant
This
the two Drekthar one, not the Horde to Alliance space one.
Yeah, this is going to be as well. Don't forget, it's old AV, and a lot of people don't understand what old AV is. They think it's a different map. It really isn't. There's unfinished parts of AV that people are waiting for it to get added, and those get added in Wallcraft, like the Syndicate Master off in the southeastern side. But on this client, you can't have an altered map, so it's old AV with the original NPCs, the mine spawns. Everything's going to be having the same values as the old version. Everything's a lot tougher, basically.
Elite archers, etc., etc.
Yeah, like everything's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. You're gonna actually need like tanks and fucking rogues and stuff like that. For the minefields, I'm probably gonna change the respawn timer if the mine is disarmed.
Yeah,
Sorry, I cut out there. I'm gonna change probably the respawn timer for the mines to not rearm for 10 minutes if they're disarmed by a rogue, so that you're not bottlenecking.
Oh, so you're
your
actually going to be able to disarm.
Yeah, like you can actually just disarm the mines to actually get through the fucking minefield.
every vanilla game, every vanilla server I've ever played as a rogue, I haven't been able to disarm hunter traps or mines.
Yeah, that's kind of lit, dude.
You can reflect hunter traps now. They don't reflect back onto the hunter, but it'll prevent it from activating on you. So like ice reflector will prevent the hunter trap from working on you.
So would it be fair to? I'm just trying to get a picture of like the honor comparison between the different battlegrounds. So would it be fair to say that like a group efficiently pre-mating AV 40 man or 30 man or whatever, as winning fast, that they should be making as much honor as someone like 5 capping an AB or 8 minute or less winning in Warsong? Correct? That's how I understand it.
Yeah, I want to balance the battlegrounds to be equal in terms of honor gains. So you choose whichever one you want to play, and you play that one.
Right. Okay. That's I think because some of the AV honor questions earlier, it's just normally there's people solo queuing AV for 3 days straight without logging off, and they do as much honor as people doing 16 hours a day AB or Warsong. So I think just understanding that like solo queue AV or honor will be worse is like just makes the whole thing a lot more structured.
Yeah, because you get the bonus honor. If you're solo queuing, you're not getting bonus honor. So even if a solo queuer and a pre-made are queuing into the same battleground and they're winning at the same time and they're getting the same HKs, the pre-made is going to get more honor, provided that the solo queuer is not part of that battleground where the pre-made is playing. If it's just 40 solo versus 40 solo, they don't get the bonus honor. So
then with old AV and nerfed AV honor, it's like it should be a done deal then. Like,
yeah, and it's AV that really needs to be reduced. Warsong, that's the thing. Warsong can be the best honor per hour as long as you're winning fast. AB is the most consistent high honor per hour.
Yeah.
Until AV comes out, and then AV just dominates everything because you can just fucking AFK and reach rank 14. So I'll change that. I'll change the AV honor gains to equalize it, and then I'll try and balance the Warsong Gulch honor gains and the AV gains to Arathi Basin's average play time. So, like, if you're playing...
Cut out.
Yeah, no, make sure there's... we already talked about not, sprinkling some AVs, but just for people who need, especially later on in the server when there's not as many AVs going on for people that still need rep, those AV weekends are really important to double up.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't forget, too, I'm probably going to add the battleground vendors for the rep for each 3 battlegrounds. I'm probably going to add those the second the battlegrounds come out. So there's not a 6-month or a 1-year gap until...
Are you
Yeah, some of that gear is very, very strong. It's like AQ value gear.
Yeah, don't forget too, the battlegrounds come out later, so they're not being introduced immediately. And I'll probably add them with the Battle Masters, maybe the Battle Master patch, maybe a bit later, but they're going to come out earlier. I'm thinking maybe even too, I won't add the Warsong and Arathi Basin vendors until Alterac Valley comes out, because the vendor for that is in the game right away. So give the other 3 battlegrounds some months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's
Yeah, some of
insane.
that gear is fucking real good. And, like
It's
to
just
having
the
having
basics.
AQ value gear in MC would not. I mean, it would kind of make the
Hey,
server easy.
yeah.
And that's why I want to save it for AV, because AV has equivalent gear that you get, and the other two, like the Arathi and Warsong, if you release them on the normal schedule, nobody ever fucking uses them. Like they're not good by that point. I think they
Yeah.
get released in like 1.9 or something like that, which is right around AQ.
Another thing off subject, but it does have to do with gearing. I remember talks about putting in the 0.5 set earlier, which I agree with, but I think somebody said they wanted to do it a little bit after MC or something. I think it should be held off longer than that.
No, it would. The statement was that it wouldn't come before MC. A lot of people interpreted it as, oh, it's coming at MC. No, it won't. It won't be in the game before MC. Or it'd be more appropriate to state, really, it won't be in the game before BWL.
Okay,
But
that's all I needed to know, because I was like, I don't want another SOM situation where like fucking rogues are running around just nuking everything. Like,
well, don't forget too, the proc rate on the rogue set, I can fucking just adjust that so that it's not procking to make it the best in slot armor set. The armor itself is very good, but the proc makes it better than max gear basically for rogues. So if the proc rate is just 1 proc per minute, then it's still a really good set, but it's not overpowered, which is something I could easily do, because the proc rates on that set aren't known, and the issue is that private servers previously had extremely high proc rates on that shit.
okay.
So like if there was no progressive itemization in a private server and they use the standard vMangos like issued proc rates, it was just too good. Too good before it was supposed to be in the game.
Gotcha.
And the problem isn't even the D2 sets being that good. For all things considered, they're not that. Like the D2 set for rogues is about equal to fucking BWL gear, all things considered. So like the big issue though is the quests and all the bosses that you summon. Their items are extremely fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of extra spell hit gear in the game that like warlocks and mages don't normally have access to. So people would be going Palm Pyro with a few MC pieces in that quest chain. So yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah. So the D2 sets, we do want to release them early so people actually can use them. And the big part is we want people who are post BWL and they've got 3k gold saved up and they're leveling an alt, but they don't want to do anything else besides dungeons and raids while they gear up that alt. It gives them a really good... It basically gives players who are leveling an alt actively and putting time into it a chance to gear up that alt quicker. So we do that like probably after ZG patch, before Nightmare Dragons, and that gives people a very fast opportunity to level more alts, because they just run the dungeons, they get the 8 pieces from the dungeons, they do the quests. It takes maybe about a week, but if you're persistent, you can farm all that shit real quick.
Gotcha. Yeah, this pretty much answered everything I was going to ask. I don't know if anybody has anything else.
I don't know if anybody's been recording this, but if so, just let me know, and we'll slap it up on YouTube or something.
I haven't personally. I don't know if anybody has.
Yeah, a lot of
For
people
bracket
wanna
one
get through that.
sizes, I have a question. Are you doing like the larger one or the smaller one? I know there's like 2 different BR1 sizes depending on patch.
Yeah, we're gonna do the later one, so you have a bigger bracket one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, man,
Oh, that's strictly against the game rules. If we catch anybody doing that, they get banned on all our accounts.
Okay.
If we see that, we're going to be actively policing it, so you cannot stuff the pool. However, that being said, I don't think people will need to, because one last trick I've got up my sleeve: reduce the amount of honor needed to be calculated into the brackets to 1. So if you get 1 honorable kill per week,
oh man, yeah.
if you get 1 honorable kill per week, you automatically go into standing, and that expands the pool by about tenfold.
That is fucking genius.
Yeah. That's
Yep,
all.
first 3 months, everybody in the server is pretty much going to get at least one honorable kill. The only people who won't are bank alts and level 1s that aren't actively going out in the world.
That is genius.
Oh, here's a good one. Just asked. Are AV pre-mades 40-man? Are they going to be queued up against other AV 40-mans? That's
Yes.
okay.
The way that the queue system works is I want 10 minutes max time in queue for anybody. If after 10 minutes you don't find a match, as a 40-man AV pre-made, you will face against strictly solo queuers, and they'll fill up the pool. And if there's 40 people in the queue that are solo, then the queue will pop for you, essentially. So every battleground obviously scales with this time, based on the time. Warsong Gulch is the easiest comparison because it's 10-man. So after 10 minutes, as a 10-man pre-made, you'll queue into strictly pugs because the queue is taking too long.
Dude,
For
by the
AV,
way-
it's gonna.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just I have some like concerns about that because I feel like you're gonna end up more likely if you're trying to balance out the honor across all the battlegrounds to make them equal. I feel like you're just gonna more likely be able to pug stomp as an AV pre-made, and just because like you're guaranteed more pug stomps in AV, it's gonna become like the primary meta, and people aren't gonna like it very much.
Well, that's the point of laterally queuing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
fixes itself. If you're
Yeah, that-
allowed to queue as 40-man AV, there's not going to be a whole lot of just pugging, in my opinion. People will set up public discords and everything like that, and the team that runs in there and they have full NG sappers consumes, that team's going to win regardless. But I think that there's going to be a whole lot of public AVs that
AV in particular corrects itself because of the amount of honor that you can actually gain in a turtle. And if you're facing a really good 40-man against a really good 40-man, and they're both well prepared, and it's stretching out in a 5-hour match, and these people are actually trying, they're not just sitting around, they're going to be getting a lot of fucking honor to compensate for that. So
Yeah, I
It's
see
not-
what you mean.
Oh yeah, I love doing that.
Yo, by the way, like, how has nobody recorded this shit? Holy. Okay, good. Because I might be able to get some more people to go Alliance as far as this is concerned. So after my work weekend, I'll hit up some people, and I might be able to get some Alliance guilds coming.
Well, that's why like numbers would be so important. Which like obviously it's like you can't really like find out, but I guess the stress test will maybe give us a sense of how many people are planning to play each faction. I hope, because like I don't want to like roll Alliance and then have there be a bunch of PvE factions like on Som and then have 20-minute queues. Like
I think it's gonna be. I don't think that's gonna be the case. Like,
well, you can't have 20-minute queues. That's the point. If you're queuing as a pre-made, you will eventually have the queue as long as there's people queuing into it. So if there's just a total lack of players, that's the only time that issue could arise.
it's just sometimes one faction can be dry of PvPers on some servers, so I just have to hope that the population is healthy, and that then the system should be fine.
that's why I think it's a good idea to hold off until after the Wrath launch. People are gonna get bored of that shit. I know people are like mesmerized by that expansion, but people are gonna be so bored of it like very quickly. So I think it's a good
You run
idea.
out of shit to do.
Yeah.
I don't know though. People say that, and I think the big fundamental difference is that in Wrath you have the achievements. That gives people a lot of content. People forget that there's a lot of achievement hunters, and you're gonna have, a few hundred per server that are just gonna constantly play to get achievements.
Yeah, that's not really. Those people aren't private server people.
Yeah, think about how many people on this server, if there were achievements in vanilla, would spend all their time going for fucking achievements. There'd be at least 1,000, and that would mean at least 1,000 people who consistently play the server on top of everybody else.
Yeah. But I mean, the people that are gonna play this server are not people that care about Wrath really. So.
Yeah, so it's different crowds, and I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, this answers pretty much all of my questions. I don't know if anybody has anything else. I've got about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I got to get ready for work. But I like the ideas, man. This shit is great. So.
Yeah, and that's, again, the biggest thing to remember, and I hear so much doomsaying for all the shit that I'm doing, and obviously the shit that I'm doing is just pushing everything back to Northdale, but everybody's so stuck in the specific thing that they want They just need to remember that I'm not Blizzard. If you send me a DM in Discord, you could send me a fucking letter on the dev server. I open the mailbox, I'll see it within 15 minutes, and I'll do something to address it. So it's like, you're not going to be stuck complaining about something that's bad, because if something is bad, I'll fix it right away. Like, there's no problem there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that shit here, and we have a team that is extremely expansive, and they're always checking for this stuff because they want the integrity of the server to be absolute fucking best experience for everybody possible. So it's like RMTing, botting, multi-boxing, account sharing, anything that negatively affects the game will be addressed and dealt with. And people who do it, they think, well, if you start dealing with it, it's gonna fuck something up. Well, yeah, it's gonna fuck you up, and everybody else is gonna see that you got fucked up real quick, and they're not gonna do it anymore because they realize what's gonna happen to them. That's all it takes is, active policing of the server for that type of integrity.
Multi-boxing doesn't apply to the bank alt, right?
No, you're allowed to have a bank alt along with your main account. They have to be in a non-hostile city
Okay.
with
yeah,
an auction
that's
house.
fine.
Non-hostile city. So again, non-hostile city. Read exactly letter of the law. If you have an alliance alt and a horde alt, as long as they're both standing in a city where it's not hostile to both of them, you're fine.
Okay,
So you go to Gadget Zan, you go to Everlook. Yeah, Goblin cities.
so one more on that. World boss scouting. How does that work? If we have to be.
Yeah, you're allowed to world boss scout. Level 1s are not going to be able to see game objects or nodes or mobs or anything like that while they're dead. So you're going to have it alive. Means it can be tracked. And you're allowed to use level 1s to scout, but you cannot use level 1s, or you cannot interrupt with world boss attempts for the same faction. You can't grief world bosses.
Yeah, I was just curious about that and like summoning alts and everything, but that clears it up.
So you can't like try to reset Azure Ghost if another guild on your faction has it tagged? Not like a level 1 running into Kazik to heal him, but just like trying to reset the tag.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. No griefing world bosses. That's pretty general rule. It's because you cannot counter same faction griefers against world bosses.
Oh,
So-
Well, you kind of
actually-
can with rotating taunts, but yeah, if it's not allowed, then
Oh, if they're just stealing the tag right before you're pulling consistently for 3 hours, there's nothing you can do about that. You would then have to-
not stealing the tag. Like your guild is fighting it and killing it, and this other guild's trying to get him to just completely reset, so then the tag becomes open again.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're doing, if essentially if the only answer is to cross faction yourself, then that means the problem needs to be addressed by the staff. So like, if somebody on the same faction is fucking up world bosses, and the only way that you can solve it is by logging onto your horde alt and killing him, well, obviously we don't want that, because then that means cross faction for yourself. So that's a problem then the staff needs to address organically from the root of it, which is don't allow people to fucking grief world bosses. And if you get caught griefing world bosses, your accounts get banned. Like, if there's another guild on your faction trying to go for a world boss and you start fucking with it, you're going to be dealt with. Like, you just don't allow that.
What about Leech Resetter?
As for like a horde guild trying to screw over an alliance world boss by killing them, that's a different story. If you're doing it with like level 1s to Zerg in, and again, I don't know the rules on this. You'd have to talk to the mods, the GMs, or anybody who's in charge of policing.
Okay.
But that's generally the gist of it. Is don't grief same faction.
Cool.
I mean, aren't you really just turning it into a game of who gets the tag? Like, I don't know.
It's
I don't know. I think
it's
it's fun
that way.
stuff trying to like pull the boss. Like, I mean, it kind of makes it competition. Like, your guild is trying to like hold on to it, while another guild is trying to like force it to reset. I don't really think that's like. I mean, it is technically griefing, but it's not really like imbalanced or anything.
It's not like a level
it's
1
guild-
running into suicide.
Yeah, yeah. If the guild that has the tag, they do things to hold on to the tag, by like taunting after the other enemy taunts, pulling it back to its spawn. Like, I don't know. I think it adds like extra competition as opposed to who pressed Fire Blast first. Like, I think that's kind of lame, personally.
There's nothing that I can say about that because again, I don't write those rules. You have to talk to the mods or the GMs about that, particularly the GMs. Bring it up with Patu, see what he says because I'm pretty sure he's the one who wrote the rule set originally, and it's the same rule set being posted on the website from Lights Hope.
Gotcha.
It's just one of those things where if you cannot stop an enemy, because don't forget, it's not just, oh, well, we love the competition. There's a lot of fucking dad gamers who do PvE, and they're waiting to kill Azure Ghost, and then this fucking jackass guild of PvP hooligans in blue rank gear during phase 3. It's like, these guys are fucking with us for 4 hours, and they're never going to kill the boss, but they're just trying to reset it to fuck with us. Like, that rule is in place for that type of purpose. If somebody else is killing the world boss, don't fuck with it. You can compete for the tags, and if you're 2 guilds competing for the tags, that's a different story, but like, if you're griefing another guild, then you're probably going to be dealt with. That's the gist of it.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna add. I don't think a dad guild killed the world boss on Elysium or Northdale one time. It's just a different set of people that are going for those things. Normally, it's giant coalitions of like 200 people.
Yeah, I mean, for the last few servers I've played on, we've gone for the world bosses with fucking 30 people. So sometimes we'd go there with 40 people, and half of them weren't even fucking level 60. They're all level 55.
But these servers are a little different. When there's like 10k active players on and shit, it gets kind of hectic.
Again, that's something that I can't even answer on. Just talk to the GMs about that, because frankly, I don't give a shit. Put it this way, if it were my server, there would be whatever you want to fucking do, you do. As long as it's not botting or RMT or like breaking the fucking explicit hard rules. I don't give a shit about anything else. But that's not the case here because there's a lot of people playing, so there needs to be some sort of outline.
Gotcha. I got to get ready for work. Wall, I appreciate you, kind of fleshing all that out for us. I'll let you guys finish up, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, good talking, man. Good talking. You have a good day.
So it was confirmed that there's gonna be 40-man pre-made queuing for AV.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll
Seems
be able
likely.
to queue mids.
Seems likely.
Just one quick question. So I know that like out of bounds in BGs is like disabled or disallowed. Is it still? It's not disallowed in the world, right? Because there's a lot of like stuff with world bosses and world buffs, with like out of bounds, mount climbing, summoning alts, and all that. You know.
Yeah, like those are fine. People
Okay.
people like to get the Rend Head buff on Alliance, and they have to go out of bounds under the city and then get some Muddy to mind control. That's part of the game, and it
Yeah,
doesn't
maybe
negatively
agree from-
affect anyone. It's something that, again, we have the stance where if it's not negatively affecting the server or other players, then it's not really an issue.
Okay, perfect.
Getting the Rend Head buff on Alliance doesn't negatively affect anybody, and it creates a lot of meta of people trying to stop you and trying to dispel it, and it's a lot of fun for a lot of people. If something's negatively affecting people, though, then that's something that we might have to take a stance on. Which
Okay,
is
thank
like war song wall climbs where you're out of bounds with the flag and nobody else can get to you because they don't play this race that fits in the right area. Shit like that. Like anything that is negatively impacting other people, then we'll probably take action on, but we're fine otherwise.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Gonna be a great server, 40-man AV queuing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real fucking slugfest, man. Especially with the old AV, and I'm gonna detail it up so all the stuff is working right.
I know you said it's a GM question, so maybe I should just ask them, but I would like some very black and white answers as to what is considered exploiting and what is considered acceptable when you're where you can be to get War Chief's blessing as an ally.
Sure, you can be like inside the roofs of buildings and shit too, like slow following.
From my understanding of what Wall explained, he said if a keyboard turner can get there, so yeah, if you do the jump by the waterfall, you can get underneath Orgrimmar. That's pretty standard. But there's a lot of like getting up on top of the roof, like literally above it, like that's like, is that acceptable? That's sketchy to me.
Yeah, like again, so if you can easily get there, then that's something that's pretty stable. Under Stormwind, under Orgrimmar, is like there's tons of fucking places where anybody can get to. So the litmus is if you can get there through keyboard turning, then that's fine. But if it takes like some fucking very intricate shit on top of the Goldshire Inn, for example, if you know all the exact jumps you can get up there, but you have a safe spot advantage, So that's like against the game rules because you're gaining an advantage from that. Even if you're not, though, you're probably going to be kicked off the roof. So if you just jump up there
to me, what that tells me is under Orgrimmar is fine, but above it is not, because you need to execute a lot of difficult jumps to get above Orgrimmar unless you're getting summoned up there.
Yeah. So like again, it depends too on what's negatively impacting the game. If you're just jumping around up on the fucking roofs, nobody's really going to care.
No, exactly. I don't care if you get up there just for the sake of getting up there. If you're getting up there to get the buff.
I know, but like again, this is something that I need you to understand. You ask a lot of questions where it's just pushing the extreme boundaries of the rules, and you know what you're doing. So it's like, I understand the legalistics of it, of, well, what if I do X, Y, and Z? Is this fine? But like, if you are of the mentality that you're abusing the rules or the game server or putting people at disadvantage, we're going to know right away. It's so fucking obvious, and we're going to deal with it. That's like the general idea. So like,
we're just trying to figure out how to not get banned.
Because I'm playing Horde and I'm a War Chief Blessing Horde only kind of guy, I just want to be, if I'm set up in XYZ spots with my crew to stop them, but they're in a spot where they shouldn't be, you know what I mean? I want to be able to confidently put in a ticket and know they're going to get fucked because they weren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, but like, it's fine because we'll know. Just like, ping a...
Cut off there, bud.
Again, this is like questions for mods and GMs. I'm not the one to make determinations on, well, can I do X, Y, and Z? So I'd rather you ask them, because they're the ones who are actually enforcing it. That is not my ballpark whatsoever. I can answer general questions on that, but how they enforce the rules and basically the question, well, am I going to get banned if I do X? I'm not the right guy to ask. So like, just PM Patu on that, or one of the other GMs.
Going back to AV, do you have any thoughts to like equalizing how easy it is to cap a Horde tower versus an Alliance tower?
No, because that's the general layout of the battleground. It sucks, but one base is kind of shitty. So
yeah, just like you can just easily cap the Horde ones without having to deal with the Rangers versus the Alliance towers. You have to kill them all because they're all in line of sight of you when you're trying to cap the flag.
The one solution I have is to allow the Rangers to shoot through line of sight of the tower, and that's something I'd really have to investigate because I'm sure that's just a client thing that I couldn't address. I can make them not line of sight with their range shot, but then they're shooting through fucking everything, and that's obviously not the intended feature.
Yeah, if you could somehow make it shoot through the tower, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because then it would be even, and you would have to kill the fucking Rangers, but there's a lot of caveats to that, so that's something that I'm just going to say no.
Okay.
I'll look into it, but the answer is just no for now.
I think earlier we asked a question about, you said you'd add blocks around, like invisible blocks around, like the, out of bounds jumps and BGs and shit. Stark asked a question, if the trees and, the fence in Warsong will be line of sight, specifically, I think was, one of the things you wanted to know.
Trees and fence where?
The trees and the fences in Warsong, like on some private servers, the Alliance fence is line of sight, and then on Classic, it wasn't line of sight. Like on Blizzard Classic. Do you know if the Alliance fence will be line of sight or not?
Yeah, let me check right now.
It's also
I'm
for, trees
like
in Warsong,
99% sure. Yeah, I'm not like 99% sure that they're line of sight for the fences. I don't know about the trees, but let me check right now. While I'm checking, just ask another question.
Anyone else?
I'll ask another AV question. If you're gonna try to fix being able to solo pull out the War Masters around the bosses in AV and just kill them one at a time outside, or is that something you're trying to keep?
What, you basically want leashing for the bosses so they stay inside their rooms? Because that's how it was on North, that's not considering that.
Yeah, you'd pull it, and then somebody else would pull one off of you, and then you'd feign death, and then all the other ones would reset except for the one you pulled out. I'm just wondering if that's something you're intending to keep around.
I mean, it's really easy to make them automatically aggro if the other creature's in combat, so I can do that to where you can't really cheese it with Feign Death. I can make him leash inside the room, so that's not a problem either.
What's like the? Do you know like what the intention or the current like default is?
As to how they are right now, I have no fucking idea. So it's something I'm gonna have to test, and we'll have to test. But I can adjust it very quickly at any time. So
Okay.
I'd have to get people to queue into the AV, or I can just go there through the map. I can summon the guys like myself. There's a lot of testing that I can do to answer some of these more intricate questions on how things currently work. Because again, we're using vMango's core, so whatever it is in vMangos is the answer.
Okay.
This may have been asked already. But are you doing any steps to make it where to like prevent people from being mind controlled out of the battlegrounds?
No, you're gonna be able to mind control at battlegrounds.
Oh baby.
Oh baby.
Oh, that's toxic.
Just don't go close. That's my only
Oh,
suggestion.
I have a follow-up question. Follow-up question to this. The calculations for bonus honor, will that be based at the end of the game? So if I mind control somebody out, they get fucked, but that means their team gets 10% less?
No, it's calculated upon entering the battleground.
Oh!
If you MC'd
Bro,
them
the
out
level of
before you
grief,
capped,
big
there
dude.
could be so much grief. that.
That's
I mean,
so
I'm not
much
going to add
grief.
a way to. I'm not going to add a way to grief people, but yeah, that's how the
Well, if
game's
you-
always
I
worked.
mean,
But
it's
if
pretty
you can MC
easy if
them
you
out of
pull
the
out an
battleground,
MC
you
helm
already
off.
did.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do.
It's
Like,
so easy, like ridiculous.
like especially like you just grab them at graveyard, hit with MC helm the second they spawn, and then walk them to the entrance.
Like, I'll be honest, as a Horde Druid, if I can be MC'd out of the battleground, I'm just gonna stop going Portal Jump entirely. I'll just go Crane Jump or
Yeah,
do
there's a
every
problem
time,
with
like-
allowing that because if you're a good pre-made against a not so good pre-made and you just decide to be a toxic asshole for no reason, you can MC them out 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's gonna lead people to quitting ranking, like straight up if it happens to them a bunch.
Like if you're a lot better team than they are, you can do it every time, and
yeah, it's very.
it's
easy to
kind of
pull off.
it's a really gray area.
Personally, IMO, like I love the grouping, but I think it'd be better if it wasn't allowed because it's just so toxic.
Agreed.
I can
But we're
disable it. I can
toxic.
disable the portals.
I think that'd be the move, cause like it's so easy and like I mean I would literally change how I run the flag as a Horde Druid. I just wouldn't go anywhere near the portal, cause it's like that with flash bombs. You know, they just have to get me CC'd and human, and then I'm MC'd out of the battleground. Like,
Yeah, it fucks Horde more than it fucks Alliance because that's where a jump is for Horde, right next to the portal, whereas the Alliance Druid never really gets near their portal for any reason.
yeah, like Alliance portals in Narnia comparatively.
Yeah, there's no jump over there. You jump way away from it to get up on the wall.
Yeah, I can remove the triggers from the portal so they don't teleport you anywhere.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
that'd be best. Yeah.
Yeah, if you got a suggestion like that, just shoot it to me and I'll fucking do it. I don't care.
Thank you, that's so appreciated.
There's I still have to check the fences. I'm like 99% sure the fences have line of sight. The logs in the middle don't. I don't think they've ever had line of sight. I'm gonna look into ways to getting WMOs.
Speaking of fences, are you going to make any changes, or what can we expect as far as which races and classes can fit through the fucking notable jumps?
It's gonna be standard as it always is for those. The jumps are not gonna be changed whatsoever. If you can't fit through it as an orc male, sorry. That's just
Okay.
how it is.
I'm just asking.
Oh, that's the problem though. That's a client side issue. That's what I'm getting at. I cut out there though. I'm looking into ways to get M2s to be line of sight. If I can make M2s line of sight, then that means game objects like trees will have line of sight. There's a lot of different things, but that requires a bit of testing.
Oh
Because
god, don't go to Kronos route, man. Please, Jesus Christ.
Well, people
I
are
don't even
asking
know
for
what
that.
M2 is.
Yeah, it's
to
just
be
a
honest.
question that Sirach asked, so that's why it was asked. So
Do people not like line of sight on trees?
No, that's why people don't play on Kronos.
It's the worst shit.
Oh, okay, so you're just a bunch of people who play classes that get fucked by line of sight, not the other 5. Okay. Yeah, okay. So
No,
you're
I
not-
think
you're
the
not-
trees is pretty troll.
You can maybe add it for the one giant one in the middle war song, but not like the small
No,
one. on the
it's
side.
the problem. It's not. You need to understand how the game works. Like M2s, if I decide to do it to one, I do it to all. Like,
Then yeah,
this
it's
is
better
like
to
a-
just keep it off totally then.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't like line of sight.
No.
No, it's not really a generally wanted thing.
Well, problem solved. You're just not getting line of sight on the fucking log in the middle of war song.
Yeah,
How
that's
about on
that's
any
perfect.
tree in any part of the world? That'd be perfect.
Yeah, we all agree. Let's move on.
All right, what else we got?
When you the 58 and the 60 blue PvP sets, like when's the blue one scheduled to come out, or the 61?
Blue sets are probably going to be in the game as soon as the game launches, so you can strive to get your blue set. Epic pieces are probably going to come out for the armor at BWL, and then the weapons come the patch after.
Well,
Okay,
I
whoa,
meant
when
the
you
No, there are
upgraded
two
blue
versions
one.
of it.
When you say come out, you mean actually come out or the upgraded version?
Oh, when it changes?
Yeah,
as
the
to when it
blue set
changes-
goes through a change,
Yeah, and it's
and
like
they're
1.8.
technically different item IDs, whereas the purple set also gets upgraded, but it's the same item ID that just gets upgraded. So I just wonder when like the second set
When,
of blue items are
yeah,
coming out.
when does the blue set come out? Traditionally, it's like 1.8.
1.9. is the
Yeah, for
normal
the
one.
level 60 blue set. The 58 blue set's in from the beginning, I think.
The blue set, the shitty blue set.
Did you cut out?
Yeah, sorry. The shitty blue set's going to be in until BWL, and then when the epics come out during BWL.
Yeah, that's good. After Black Wheeler, I like that.
Yeah, I keep cutting out though. After BWL, or during BWL is when the epics come out, and that's when the blue pieces get upgraded. The weapons come out next patch, so you have.
But when you say weapons come out, are you saying that they're not going to be available at all, or they're going to be in their shitty version and they're going to get patched?
Pretty sure weapons get introduced later. I can't remember the exact timeline of all the fucking PvP release shit. When do the weapons get launched? Is that with the epic armor?
Everything should be available right off the hop, but everything's in a nerfed state.
Yeah,
Yeah, except for the caster and healer maze.
And the fast offhand and the mage.
Yeah, and
the warlock
yeah.
and.
Yeah, when do
Spelldagger.
all those items get added? That's
It's
like
been
BWL
patched
patch?
1.6 on Classic and on all the Northdale private servers, etc.
Yeah, so like BWL.
Yeah, BWL, exactly.
Yeah. So at BWL is when those come out, and that's when blue pieces get upgraded, and that's when the epics get upgraded. So the weapons get upgraded. Don't the weapons get upgraded too? Patch later.
No,
Yeah,
that's
so-
normally 1.6 as well, but you've made it suggestion, and I like the suggestion, is the caster weapons will get added, and the physical ones will get patched, but it won't be right at Black Wheeler, so you're going to wait like a month.
Yeah, like the next patch there.
there's like 3 different patches. So like weapons originally only some weapons come out 1.4. Those weapons that came out get updated in 1.6. And then the other ones get added, what is it, 1.9?
Yeah, 1.9 or 1.10.
Yeah, so basically the other ones and the upgrades will happen right around Nightmare Dragons. That's
So
like
are there
yeah,
going to be 1.4? That's not BWL. BWL is 1.6, right?
Yeah, 1.6 is BWL.
No. 2 or 3 months after BWL is.
So
Nightmare
are the
Dragons.
are the
Okay,
original
so then you want
pre-nerfed
CG patch
weapons?
to be the ones where everything gets upgraded.
Yeah,
Are they-
everything's gonna be pre-nerf, and don't forget it's highest lifetime rank, so it doesn't matter when you rank. Just get your rank and you'll get your shit. The stuff will be buffed appropriately to stay consistent with the other shit in the game. You're never ever gonna have some fucking overpowered crazy shit because you ranked up super early in the server. It's gonna stay on tier. It's gonna be good, the best stuff, but it's not gonna be outgearing and outpacing everything.
Are the nerfed versions of the rank 14 weapons going to be in from the beginning?
Hold on, I got a plane going overhead.
So I know you want to like update them after BWL. I'm just wondering if the pre-nerfed versions are going to be in the game at all, or we only just get the buffed
Yes,
versions,
yes,
1.6.
yes. I've said this several times. Pre-nerf going to be in the game. It's going to be buffed around BWL, and then the weapons,
Okay.
the second set of weapons, and the other shit happens right around Nightmare Dragons.
But Nightmare, the gap between Blackwing Lair and Nightmare Dragons that's like almost 6 months. That's a long time.
No, it's going to be like 2 to 3 months.
So are you going to release Nightmare Dragons and ZG at the same time?
ZG comes out like 2 months after. Nightmare Dragons probably 2 months. So yeah, 3 to 4 months. We basically want content to flow before AQ War Effort, so there's a bigger gap between AQ War Effort and Nightmare Dragons.
Okay.
So again, months aren't all evenly spaced out. Everything happens
that
generally
makes
within a
sense.
month. And the patch system is basically the way that they did it in vanilla too. It was like it was 1.5 0.5 basically, like half that patch. So basically, the way that VMangos calculates it as well is there's patch 0 through 10, and some things are kind of sublisted as patch 3.5 or 4.5. You know, it's like it happens halfway through between 4 and 5, and those can be added manually instead of just automated to the later patch. Again, like, we're asking 10 minutes worth of questions on when the gear gets upgraded. Just wait, okay? That's going to be more of a timeline issue that we still have to work out. So, like, let's not waste too much time asking this shit.
Well, I mean, it affects if somebody decides on if they're going to rank or not. It's just trying to get the info early.
Everybody's going to want to rank if you're going to want the gear. It's not going to be shitty gear at any point compared to everything else, and it's not going to be overpowered compared to everything else. And it's your highest lifetime rank, so you can, if you want the stuff later on, you just push the rank early and you can get it later on.
But yeah, it just becomes a question for casters and healers to see if they want to stick, like, depending on how long they get to use the weapon before AQ, it will really, like, determine if a caster or healer decides to go to 14 rather than 13.
It's generally speaking, the idea that I want is the blue gear is going to be unupgraded until BWL, and then when all the other stuff comes out during BWL, you're going to have to wait essentially 1 month after BWL. So people are pushing for BWL first without having overpowered rank 14 weapons. Okay, so like that's the general idea that we're trying to get at. Is people aren't speedrunning BWL with fucking Grand Marshals weapons. You values the rig. Say that again. Yes, everything's nerfed up until about that point. Yeah, the nerfed shitty version. And better stuff comes later. So it's like, if you push rank early, you'll have stuff that's good early game, as any class, and any spec. And then later on, when the stuff starts falling off, it gets upgraded. And it's still relevant. So you're not worried too much about anything besides ranking, especially early in the server. There's not going to be an issue of, well, the staff is only good, but I get it right before AQ. Like, you're going to get it earlier. It just gets upgraded along the timeline. And again, like, a lot of the concerns and questions are regarding to the exact dates of the timeline, which I cannot answer. We don't have a set date for the timeline yet. We're still working out the best timeline. That's a discussion that we need to have over the next few months. So it's not going to be an answer that we have of how many months will I have X or whatever. It's it's basically just trying to align everything up for the power level of everything else.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna get that timeline once it is decided way well before the server.
Yeah, you're going to get it long before the server, so you have plenty of idea. You're not going to be in the dark. Do we have another question at this point?
I think we're good. I think we can wrap it up. We've been in here a while.
If we got any more, I still got time. So let's try and get everything PvP out right now, so we can just continue moving forward with development here. I'm just focused on right now making sure that honor rates are where they need to be to make the game enjoyable for people.
I know I asked you this before, and you confirmed it for me, and I know I'm going to test it, and you're probably going to tell me it's fixed. I just want to reintroduce the problem that I ran into when ranking on Darrow is whatever percentage of HP that somebody lost when they were fighting a mob in PvE is the percentage of honor I lost when I killed that person.
Honor you gained? Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about that. You're going to get the honor.
Okay. I mean, I'll be watching for it. I'll test it. I'll let you know if there's an issue.
About like your honor page on your character screen, is it gonna be added to where it shows your actual like up-to-date honor for the day, or are you gonna have to wait until the day ends to see how much honor are you gonna show the exact number of honor you currently have on the character screen? Because some servers have done that and some haven't.
That's actually pretty important.
Yeah, you're gonna know the exact honor. Again, these are so many questions that you guys should just be saying, hey, this is a VMangoes question, I need to test it out. And you can log into the server right now and test it on the dev sandbox, but currently none of you are, so.
Well, it's like a Blizzlike versus custom thing, because Blizzlike is to not show your current exact honor until the next day, whereas some servers decide to just let you see your exact honor just so it makes stacking brackets easier.
Maybe a better
Yeah,
question is this something
totally
you
get that.
consider? You can do it, okay.
It's, again, like please, the thing that I'm trying to impress is that if you want something or you see something, you should be testing it right now. And not just during the PTR, because during the PTR you're going to want to PvP and kill people and not actually test stuff. So it's like, go on the dev server and any question that you have, write it down and then test it first and say, hey, this is working like this, can we have it like this? Instead of asking me, because then I have to go and test it. And that cuts into my time a lot, trying to note down all of these things and test them myself, when you can be proactive on it. There's a lot of things that you can't test. It's more of a general question or more of a core question. If something isn't, X, Y, or Z, then you can ask that question. But like, if something is easily testable on the dev sandbox, you should be doing it right now. These things take a lot of time. There's only so much time that I have in the day. So having it faster paced towards me in terms of what I need to fix or what I need to do saves me a lot, and it's much appreciated.
Yeah, it was just more of a server philosophy question rather than if it's working right.
No, and I totally get it. I don't know how it's working. So like now I have to go test to see how it's working. And
I was just wondering what your plan was for it, not whether it was currently on the server or not.
Oh, it's good, and I appreciate the questions. I really do. And I really enjoy the feedback. I like that people are at least taking a proactive stance on how they want to see things and giving me the feedback to make it the best that it possibly can be. And it's very much so appreciated. I'm really encouraging you guys that if there's anything that you need to check or test, to do it during the PTR or during the dev sandbox, which is open right now, or during the stress test, like at the very latest. Because once the server is launched, we're not going to have time for any of this. Like, we need to know these things beforehand.
For the PTR, isn't it closed beta? Initially at least. Like,
Yeah,
are
there's
you
three
guys still
phases.
are you guys still handing out keys for that if we're interested?
Yeah, if you want a key, go to the public Discord and just type /PTR. It'll submit an application. It gets automatically reviewed by one of the GMs or one of the community managers, one of the mods. And provided that your Discord chat history isn't like fucking completely retarded nonsense, then you're fine.
Okay, what channel is it real quick?
You just
or-
do /PTR in any channel,
Okay.
I think.
Cool.
And
All right,
channel.
cool. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, and everybody should apply for their closed beta key because the closed PTR is mostly going to be used for filming trailer footage. We're going to have extremely high octane battles. It's going to be World PvP, Hillsbrad. You're going to have a lot of fun, especially if you're PvPer, because the way that we have it planned is it's just going to be a massive fucking Hillsbrad World PvP event for the first 2 or so weeks, maybe 3 weeks, while we test out a lot of the things with the core, trying to pack 5,000 people into one little zone.
I think most of my other questions are better asked to maybe some of the people on the GM team. So I'm done for now. But I'm sure we'll have lots of more questions after we all get some like testing in and get to try some different things.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, the best place to do it is the closed beta, especially for classes, class mechanics, honor testing, stuff like that. It's going to be, or I should say not even closed beta, the stress test. The stress test is going to be I-60 with everything unlocked, so you can go anywhere and do anything pretty much. That's definitely going to be the best place to test. But the dev sandbox right now, if you want any item, if you want to test any item, you log in, I'll spawn it for you, I'll send you anywhere, I'll make you whatever level you want. This is the best place to test things currently, because there's no restrictions, so you can test quite literally fucking everything.
Okay, I think I might at some point do that. So I think I just want to go test a bunch of things in Warsong and just like make sure that like there's a bunch like there isn't like things missed. So yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah, just sign up on wallcraft.org and set realms list to wallcraft.org.
Okay.
Super easy.
Alright.
But whatever items, whatever things you want to test, they should be done now. I'd like to do that before close beta to make sure that nothing's like needs work while I'm busy with other shit, basically. And right now I'm on a time crunch. I spend X amount of hours per day working on this shit, but I also work multiple jobs IRL, and I'm very fucking busy. So trying to handle all this shit, the more that you can do for me, the more changes that we'll see to the core system to make it more in line of what it needs to be. If there's a bug, if there's a glitch, if there's a flaw, if there's a discrepancy, it should be tested as much as possible by other people first, so that at least I know exactly what I'm looking for and exactly what I need to do, and it saves me a lot of time, allows me to get a lot more shit done. So it's like the biggest reminder that I'm trying to encourage people to, because I don't want to tell people, hey, I need X amount of people coming online to test this one fucking dungeon. I'd rather be able to just scoop up any amount of people that are online on the dev sandbox who are currently testing shit and be able to get other stuff done. We're not going to have that luxury or that convenience really with the first 2 phases of the PTR, because people are going to want to be doing stuff. They're going to want to be world PvPing, and they're going to want to be doing the level cap leveling experience. The stress test will have a little bit more leniency, a little bit more flexibility on that, but right now for testing is like the best opportunity for shit. We're adding new mechanics from Northdale like every fucking day, and tons of different updates to values from Northdale and Lightbringer and shit every day. So coming to test different proc rates or mechanics or spells or abilities and how they're functioning, make sure they're working correctly, it's helped a lot. We've had maybe 7 or 8 people consistently on every day who have been able to just test basically everything possible in the game for us. But there's a lot of stuff that's not been done yet, you know, especially for Battlegrounds. I don't think we've done a Battleground queue yet, so I can't really tell you how anything works specifically. I can go in there by myself and test, but it's going to take a couple hours to knock everything off the fucking list, you know?
Yeah, we have to do a lot of like the varying group sizes queuing against each other and shit. Just make sure like the whole like system is working. Yeah, I'll look into that.
Any chance you can make it on the where if just one horde and one alliance keys for the battleground at a pop?
Yeah, I can push it to 1-player teams on each, and I can even artificially generate Battlegrounds with player bots. So that's like not really an issue, but all these little things, trying to test them myself is just going to take so fucking long. So having a nice comprehensive list is probably in the best interest for anybody who's concerned about this shit.
Yeah, I think if you added that, it would be a lot easier to do a test. If we could just solo queue into Warsong or whatever and go test out the jumps and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like we could get that would be interested.
Yeah, we got some more questions. I still got another 15 minutes or so.
I think it's about all for now, unless anyone has anything else.
Can I ask a non-related PvP question?
Yeah, of course. Ask anything you want.
What are you doing to mage farms?
Mage farms are basically the same that they've been for a little while now, and they're not insane. So you're not going to have the same stuff as classic. For the last 3 or 4 VMango servers you've seen, it's not been insane mage farming. It's been mostly insane hunter farming because they're slightly better than mages. So Hunter Dire Maul Tribute Farm is, I think, 125 gold an hour, something like that. Maybe a little bit more if you're really, really good. Mage Farm, it's about 100 gold an hour, pretty consistent. So it's like, the real concern that people have is back when Lasher farms were a thing on Northdale, we're not bringing those back, so.
Yeah. I feel that.
Is Aya Kilrog enabled on the server?
Yeah, of course.
Because on Northdale, it was disabled the entire lifespan on Northdale. Because you could like crash the server with it, doing some kind of exploit, and they decided just to disable it rather than fix the exploit.
Yeah, no, that doesn't exist anymore, so don't worry.
Okay.
Even the Stratholme trinket thing from the boss works.
You know,
works, all the other ones do.
This may be a weird question that you probably don't know off the top of your head, but Blade of Eternal Darkness, do you know like proc values on it? Is it insane?
10% proc value, procs once off initial cast for spells that are binary, or essentially, Arcane Explosion will only allow it to proc once. Blizzard will not proc it. Arcane Missiles, individual missile hits will proc it. Same goes for clear casting. Blizzard will not chain proc clear casting. Flame Strike can proc clear casting on the initial hit. Same with Arcane Explosion. Individual Arcane Missiles have a chance to proc clear casting. Tier 2, 8 out of 8 set bonus, same rules.
Gotcha.
Yeah, are you a mage player?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, log into the fucking sandbox right now and you just make a full fucking mage decked out with all that shit. It's actually really fun to play. Same shit as on Northdale, basically.
Yeah, I'll figure that out. I'll play around with it.
The only thing that's not being reintroduced from Northdale is the clear casting procs on individual Blizzard hits, and that was just a bug from private servers.
Yeah, that shit's not even cool. Like,
yeah, unlimited mana the whole time that you're using it.
Is there a location where it explains how to access the current test server?
Say that once more.
Is there a location where it explains how to access the current test server?
Is there a location where what?
Yeah, to explain
like
how
a
to
guide.
access. Yeah, like how to server info and stuff. Like, where's that at?
Wallcraft.org. Click on my profile, you'll see the link.
I think if you guys added like a news post with like a little quick guide on how to access Wallcraft PTR, you'd get like a lot more people.
No, we're moving to the Everlook domain very shortly once we open PTR, so there's really no point. This is just a dev sandbox. I don't want a ton of people on because this is literally just a fucking spare laptop that I'm using to host everything while I work on shit.
Yeah, it'll fucking overheat.
Yeah, well, no, I can host well over 1,000 players, but it's my home internet, it's my hardware, it's in America. Like, there's no point in advertising my fucking dev sandbox.
Yeah.
Well, got any more questions?
I mean, I guess just the only other question is like your philosophy on like power leveling, and like how I don't want the game to die like Classic, where the meta is just to pay mages to fucking power level them.
No, they
like,
already talked about that.
You already talked about it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's not allowed.
Yeah,
You can like boost your friends, but not like paid services or whatever.
So yeah, so you're not allowed to sell boosting services, and the experience that you gain from boosting people is drastically lower than classic. So it's just not really worth it. It's not
Plus,
something
all
you
the
wanna
the mobs all have like hit harder. Like you can't do a 300 mob pool on fucking
Yeah, for
Maradon
sure,
on
for
North
sure.
Dell tuning compared to the classic. Like you die in like 2 fucking seconds.
Yeah, I feel you. I just don't wanna. I just hate that meta, dude. Like for making gold, it's so ass.
Yeah, there's tons of good farms as a mage, so you don't have to worry about that. You just you're not gonna be able to do like insane shit that was pretty much classic exclusive. You can still do the ZG farm if you're smart. Like you can solo farm Nax Trash as a mage. There's tons of
Yeah.
really cool farms.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of a weird question, but BRD used to be meta to farm epics as a mage, early Elysium and the servers before it, and it got patched. I was just wondering, do you know if that's gonna be like the pre-nerf version or the nerf version of it?
Stratholme is the best place to farm epics, and that's Blizz-like. Up until 1.4, Strat Trash dropped epics at a really high rate.
It doesn't only drop like a few of them, because BRD used to be meta because you'd get Edge Masters was on the drop table and it had a pretty good chance to drop them.
Yeah. I mean, you can still farm Edge Masters. The drop rates though aren't Elysium drop rates. Those were just really flawed.
Okay, so it's different.
Yeah.
And just because no one else has any questions, I'm sure this has been asked also. Are you allowing like name reses?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
Okay, cool.
No, they're saying they're not doing it, but I mean, it could be a good. I think it's well, no, never mind. I was gonna say it's a good way to test faction balance, but people are just gonna fucking res their name with whatever fucking combo comes up first just to get it.
Yeah, and there's so many flaws with having name reservations, but at the same time, we could do it. I don't know what it's going to be. You might be able to reserve your name like an hour before the server launches. They're talking about integrating Discord, where if you do set up two-factor authentication through your phone or Discord, then you can reserve a name.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of different talks for that, so that's something we'll have to look at.
So the PTR is coming in July, right? Is it gonna be early July or towards the end? For the closed PTR
Can't
that's
answer
coming
on
up soon.
dates.
Okay.
I can't answer on dates. That's not something that we have set yet.
Not much else to say except for a lot. I think there's only like 2 or 3 of us that have PTR access right now, so it's kind of hard to get it. And I think throw in some more PvPers, some PTR access to test out Battlegrounds would be good.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of people in. Don't worry. There's going to be a lot of keys given out. A lot of people will be able to get in. We're just trying to get like a general amount of people right now so that we can do filming. So we need about 1,000 people. Hopefully about 500 will be online. We can just do like a big Hillsbrad battle. We're still waiting for all the hosting, so yeah, Mike, nothing's set in stone on dates yet.
Alright, well, I really appreciate you doing this.
Same,
Yeah, it's
thank
always
you for your
important.
time.
No, thank you. It's a passion project. I'm glad for all the feedback and all the discussions and all the chat. Again, though, just remember that there's other people on the staff. They have general say. They don't like when I answer stuff like that. You know, if I say, well, this is the game rule set, and then somebody says to general chat that, well, this is what Wall said, and then next thing you know, I'm getting bitched at by somebody else. So it's like, just defer questions for like game rules and shit to the people who can actually answer them.
Yeah, it's just hard because they all have their DMs turned off, so you can't really just DM them a question. You can like add them in the Discord, but A lot of the times they don't see it until like 6 hours later, and they just never answer.
Yeah, it sucks, and I agree. And it's like people need to be active. We need more active people within the Discord who are willing to answer shit. You can message me at any fucking hour of the day, and I will answer stuff. So
Yeah, I just wanted more so for like the game rules and the
I
world
just-
boss shit and that kind of stuff.
that's not stuff I can answer, and if I try and answer it, I get bitched at. So
Yeah.
like I said, on Wallcraft, man, there are no rules. It's fucking Wild West.
Yeah, I
You
had,
can,
I had fun.
you can even say all your words in the chat, and nobody fucking cares because nobody's ever gonna ban you. Just don't be botting.
I had fun stealing tags from other same faction guilds and defending against it as well. Especially
I
the
think it makes it-
Tanager Ghost jump off a cliff and he immediately resets because you're in a unreachable area. It's a fun one.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah, I love that shit. It's so dynamic and like that. Just whoever presses Fire Blast first to me is just so fucking lame, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
because you can sit there and hold the tag for if you have some healers and you just fucking sit there and tank it for 2-3 minutes until your guild gets like they're summoned here, whereas another guild might be 30 seconds late to the tag, but they're 1 to 2 minutes ready to actually like kill the boss with their 40 people or whatever. Whereas these guys are just holding it with 5, so it kind of like sucks.
yeah, like gives people time to like log on shit. Like, I feel like the resource should go to the most prepared and ready guild, not whoever presses Fire Blast because they're in the area. Like, that's just me.
I agree. I agree. I'd rather see it happen just